Hi, this is Professor Nugent. I get a lot of questions from students year round about interviewing. What's my advice for them when they interview, and students seeking consultation with me about how they should prepare for an interview. So I'm putting this video together to answer those questions. And I'm going to entitle this video, How to Nail the Interview. So this is advice that I've learned from my experience interviewing, feedback from other students who have interviewed, research on what recruiters and business people are looking for when they interview people, talking to human resource personnel about their advice, working with the Career Center, advice from the Career Center that they give students about interviews. And this is what I boiled it down to. The first thing is dress in a suit. Even if they ask you not to, dress professionally. The better looking you are and the more professional dressed you are, the better. Even if they say, oh, we're business casual here, or you may come to their office, you see everyone's visual casual. No, if you're interviewing, wear a suit. Okay, shake their hand when you first meet them. And shake it with a firm, confident hand. Don't have a fish hand. Don't have a sweaty hand. Just have a nice, firm, confident handshake. Look interested. Feign your interest if you have to. Smile, look them in the eye, make eye contact, show them that you're awake and that you're enthusiastic, and bring extra copies of your resume, because you may meet with multiple people and only a few may actually have your resume, or they may not have your resume at all. The human resource may have forgotten to give it to them, or they may have lost it. So bring extra copies of your resume and make sure it's on a higher quality stock paper, not the typical paper you'd cut out of a printer. Invest in some higher quality resume paper to put in your printer to print out your resume. Bring a pen, bring some paper. If you have like a little leather portfolio that you would keep a pad with, something that looks professional, that would be good. The more professional you act and look, the better it is for the interview. Now, number one, do your homework. Learn everything you can about this job, this organization, their competition, the industry. Reading the website is the minimal amount of work that you can do. You want to be engaged and read articles about the business from major business magazines and publications and journals. You want to really stand out from the crowd by knowing a lot of their most topical issues and concerns. And this is generally a problem with a lot of business students, is that they don't read business magazines, they don't read business newspapers, they're not really up on the economy, the current problems with businesses are facing. So you want to seem knowledgeable and you want to seem intelligent. So if you're going to come upon interviewing season, for a few months beforehand, get in the habit of reading as much as you can about business, the business side of magazines, articles. Newsweek, Business Week, Fortune are all good to look at for topical events. Newsweek, actually, Time Magazine might be better for learning more about topical events, and then Business Week, Fortune Magazine for business-related environment, or Wall Street Journal is a good one as well. Prepare for the typical questions. Now, you're being interviewed, but if you're the one who's the interviewer, it's difficult. So you usually fall back on the same tired questions just to feel like you're doing a good job as the interviewer. But as the interviewee, be prepared for these same tired questions. Tell me about yourself. So don't tell them everything about yourself. Paint yourself in the best light possible. They may ask you, what are your strengths and weaknesses? So think of some realistic strengths. And when you mention your weaknesses, try to temper them with something that's realistic, but yet not a drawback to them hiring you. So that takes some consideration. Tell them about your greatest accomplishments. They may ask you, often they do ask you about what's your greatest accomplishment, or what have you done in your life that you feel is a really successful accomplishment. And if you can't think of anything now, start trying to think of something that you would like to have as an accomplishment. Maybe your accomplishment is that I helped run a food drive for a local charity, or a clothing drive, or organized a club or an event or something. When you talk about your greatest achievement, try to fold it into some sort of community service where you're actually helping other people, and that's a big achievement for you, rather than focusing on something that might be a little self-involved. But that's always some good advice. They may ask you, share a time when you failed and how you responded to the situation. So try to think of a time where a failure led to you being more encouraged to work harder, and eventually you became successful. Okay. Why do you want this job? Why work at this organization? So think about these questions and have a pre-canned rehearsed response, so it doesn't seem like you're really stretching, like you really know the answer. Because a lot of times when you're asked this question in the interview, you stumble and you're trying to put something together and it just comes out awkward. So be prepared. Why do you want this job? I would like this job because this is, a good answer to this could be because the company is a company I've admired for a long time, and I can clearly see that the company makes opportunities for entry-level employees to move up quickly and gain a lot of experience and work, and there's a lot of future potential for me. I see myself having a lot of future potential here at this company, that type of stuff. So try to rehearse it so it's as natural as possible. Okay, leadership and teamwork experience is a hot topic among interviewers now. So be prepared to give examples of your leadership experience. They may ask you, how well do you work in a team? Start with a situation and describe the context and the problem, where you're in a team. And team experience is great if you have team projects in the class. That's why we try to include team projects in our coursework. You're working in a club, a society, a fraternity, a charity, something where you're working as part of a team. Then explain what you did to improve the situation if there are some difficulties, or improve the teamwork in more quantifiable terms, as far as I took over the church bake sale and I looked for more avenues of advertisement and I increased their sales by 300%, something like that. And demonstrate you have an understanding of the impact of your personal contributions to the team. What do you bring to the team that makes them more motivated, that makes the team work better, that resolves disputes? And this is where you can express your leadership ability. And so, you need to be part of a club on school, a sports team, a camp or campus society, to provide some legitimacy to your examples. Also, this could be examples from former jobs as well. Show how you're going to add value to the organization. Why should a company pay you $80,000? The only reason for that is if you're going to make them more than $80,000. Just think for yourself. If you were going to hire somebody, you'd probably be willing to pay that person a salary that's less than the amount of money they can make for you. So, for example, a classic example is a salesman. If you're a salesman and you can make the company $1 million, then they may just want to pay you $200,000. If you're a salesperson and you only make the company $20,000, why would they want to pay you more than $20,000? So you have to show them your value to the corporation. And now you can't always show it in monetary terms, but you want to focus on. Don't be too focused on why you want the job. Turn the tables around and focus on why you would be helpful to the company, how you could benefit the organization, things that you could bring to the organization. For example, you could say you're very skilled in social media and you understand a lot of the new trends in social media, or that you're very skilled in Excel and you understand how to do some very difficult statistical and data analysis in Excel that you could utilize to speed up the time it takes to get things done. You're good with efficiency and helping people to learn certain skills to get their jobs done faster. Things like that. Okay. Know your business acumen. Learn the business vocabulary. Surprise the employer by being able to converse with them at their level. Be able to translate your academic or extracurricular experiences into more of a business role, or into words that are used to kind of describe in more business terms. Using words that are actually part of the business description of your job. So, things like sales and revenues and profitability and production and efficiencies. You just want to sound like you're knowledgeable about business and you understand the world of business. Talk about, it's really good to talk about your understanding of Excel and how comfortable you are using Excel to manage large data. That you understand how to use VLOOKUPs and pivot tables, and using how to create formulas to analyze data, and bring some of your best examples of your work as a student. Spreadsheets you made as a student, or analytical reports or analysis reports you put together. Also, it would be helpful to practice interviewing out loud as much as you can, in front of a mirror, in front of your parents, in front of friends, in front of mentors. Do it as many times as you can. So by the time you do interview, you don't feel as much pressure. You feel a bit more relaxed. You feel like you've done it enough. So you want to practice speaking and emphasizing, and get them, give these people you're working with, say, I want you to judge me on how comfortable I look. Do I look confident? Did I, just give them even this sort of list that I'm talking about. Do you feel that I conveyed my business acumen, my confidence, my leadership ability? So kind of give the interview, the person who's going to help you practice, a guidelines of how you're trying to present yourself. Okay. Most of all, be humble and self-confident. Now, when I say be humble, don't be full of yourself like you're God's gift, and if they don't hire you, that's their huge mistake. You just want to seem like a real person, a normal person. But you want to be self-confident in your skills, that yes, I had a good education, and yes, I know how to get work done. I'll definitely be an asset to this company because I'm really motivated, and I have been looking for this experience, this chance to get started for a long time. So you want to kind of show some of your personality. Not too much, but enough to show that you're enthusiastic, that you could be a good friend, that you could be a great coworker, someone they could rely on, would have fun with at lunch, and be someone nice to talk to. So you want to really show that you have a warm and supportive personality, and you do this with your voice tone. You don't want to shout or be rushed or make them nervous the way you speak. With your body language, you want to seem comfortable yet confident, but excited about the opportunity. So you want to kind of get yourself in a mood, psych yourself into a mood where you're really looking forward to this interview, and it's a great time to talk about your aspirations and how you can help this company and be committed to this organization for this company to do better. You want to show a little life, something, an excitement about it. Now, always close with a good final statement. So when the interview is just about over, you want to just kind of reiterate and say that, thank you so much for this opportunity to interview. I'm really excited about this position. It was, very nice to meet you, and I think I'd be a great hire and fit for this organization because I really understand what, this company is trying to do, and I feel I can contribute, and I would really be proud to work for a company that makes this type of product and contributes to society in this way, things of that nature. You may want to kind of give a read on how they're reacting. You don't want to take too long doing this because they may be in a rush to get to the next interview or to a meeting. So be considerate about the time. So you make it a minute or two, no longer than that. Then after the interview, very important to follow up. You want to send a thank you note less than 24 hours after the interview. While you're still fresh in your mind. You want to say this thank you note to the person you interviewed with, to human resources representative that you may have met with, and they took you over to this. And anybody else you may have met that day. Now, they're going to expect a thank you note, and they're going to think poorly of you if you don't produce one. Now, to really stand out, you could actually handwrite a thank you note after the interview, not just simply email. You can also just handwrite an interview and then mail it to them directly. That's, if you feel the job is really worth it, it's going a little above and beyond, but it's worth it. Now, if you do email them a thank you note, also include your resume on that thank you note and maybe your cover letter, just in case you don't have it handy. And that's another thing. When I say bring copies of your resume, you may also want to bring copies of your cover letter. Just because they may refer to it, or you may want to it's just good to have that with you. And if you have certain students maybe a little upset or worried about their grade point average, because a lot of employers will look at and fixate on grade point average. So if that is an issue for you, if your grade point average is less than a 3.0, you may want to provide some explanation for it or some background in case they ask you about it. Don't bring it up. Just if they ask you about it, be prepared to explain. If they have, if they do talk about your grade point average, don't be shy about it if they bring it up. And that's why generally the advice I give to someone who has, the largest, biggest companies may actually first look at grade point average. You only look at people who have a 3.5 or higher and not even interview anybody else. So if that's the case, and you find yourself having a hard time getting in at the bigger employers, take your focus your resume on smaller companies and use alternative routes to get job interviews for jobs that aren't posted online or through a network that they may attract, anywhere from 20 to 100 applicants, and they may be only interviewing 5 people. That's going to kind of exclude you if you're using GPA. Try to create your own opportunities where you're in a candidate pool of 2 or 3 people applying for a job that most people don't know about. That will really improve your chances. So that's my basic advice for anyone looking for a job and is going on an interview. Things you could do to make sure that you have the best chance possible getting the job. Thank you, and I hope you found this helpful.